Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Horror Snob. My name's Michael James. I am the Horror Snob. Today, talking to you about 5 brand new movies coming out. They're going to be available for your viewing pleasure, either in theaters or video on demand. The first on the list coming out next week on October the 2nd. A movie that's more teen comedy than it is horror, but damn if it's not going to have its share of blood and guts. The movie I'm talking about, Spontaneous, starring Piper Perabo and Katherine Langford. Langford you'll know from things like 13 Reasons Why, Cursed, both Netflix series. She now takes on the spotlight in a feature film where people are just blowing up everywhere. And I'm not talking Instagram, TikTok blowing up. I mean literally, boom, blood and guts against the wall. Spontaneous explosion. Looks like a lot of fun for us as horror fans looking for a little excess carnage in our lives. Probably fair to expect something along the lines of Warm Bodies as far as tone, mood, but expect an excess amount of carnage more similar to the remake of Evil Dead. Blood and brains meets beauty and teenage angst. Should be a lot of fun. At number 2, it's another one that leads more towards the comedy side of our favorite genre, but this time a little more adult, a little more satirical. The Wolf of Snow Hollow, coming out on October the 9th. Written, directed, and starring Jim Cummings. There's not a lot of big names in this one, though Ricky Lindome and Robert Forster, these are the few that you're going to recognize. Think something of a cross between Fargo, if you've been following the TV show on FX, in combination with something like Skinwalkers. Ultimately, it's going to come down to Jim Cummings and whether he can pull off the triple role, writer, director, actor, get the job done and put out a solid product. We'll have to wait and see, coming out October 9th. The following week on the 16th, we get a zombie flick, something personally I feel like we've been missing for a while now. I'm always down with a good zombie flick. This one's called Alone. Very claustrophobic film from the look of it. It's about a dude stuck in his apartment for the most part during the middle of the zombie apocalypse. Not quite a different story, but a little bit different take on a story with some actors we're pretty familiar with. Tyler Posey of Truth or Dare and Teen Wolf, and one of the great all-time in Donald Sutherland. The slight downside maybe to this film, and I'm just making assumptions here, is it looks very similar to something that just dropped on Netflix recently called Alive. If you've seen Alive, you know what I'm talking about. Another movie, zombie apocalypse, dude in an apartment. I don't know which was made first, which one copied the other, but we might have a little cloning going on between these two movies. My bet is that Alone, coming out on October 16th, is going to be the better version of the two. Wait for it. See it. Alone should be a pretty good flick. At number 4, it's Synchronic. Written and co-directed by Justin Benson. The number 2 on that, Aaron Moorhead. They've worked together before, pumping out some movies we're familiar with like The Endless, Spring, and a segment in VHS Viral, the third in that series. This one looks a bit like a mind trip with some very solid actors in it. People we're very familiar with in Anthony Mackie, the Falcon from the MCU movies, Jamie Dornan, Mr. Grey himself from the 50 Shades movies, and Katie Aselton, who maybe is best known for her role on The League, a comedy TV show about fantasy football that was on FX some years ago, but has toyed around in horror as well, Black Rock being the one that particularly comes to mind. Coming out towards the end of the month on October the 23rd, this one might be the best written, best directed one out of the bunch. I wouldn't be shocked to look back and think of it as the best movie of the month, not just within these 5, but with everything coming out through the month of October. And lastly, at number 5, coming out on the 30th of October, the day before Halloween, it's Come Play. The type of thing that looks like an absolutely solid scare fest, really focusing on a child and his imaginary friend Larry turns out to be a pretty devious creature. Though it may be almost 40 years ago when it came out, thinking all the way back to something like the very first Poltergeist movie by comparison, an excellent movie in its day and still stands up well today as a classic. This one, Come Play, should be a very strong, modern version of something of that nature. With John Gallagher and Gillian Jacobs, there's a solid cast on screen that should deliver a pretty solid final product, something that's going to live deep in our worst nightmares. Expect this one to be another really good film, again, coming out on the 30th of October. Alright, that's it for me today. As always, I invite you to take a moment, hit that subscribe button and the bell, stay up to date with all the previews and reviews that I pump out on a weekly basis. While you're there, leave a few comments down below. Let me know which of these films sounds like something you're going to be intrigued by. If you've seen any of them and when you see them, let us know what you thought. Spread the good love so we know what's worth a watch and what's not. My name is Michael James. I am the Horror Snob. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.